France is famous for its generous summer holidays, but throughout the year, employees and students are spoiled with a series of public holidays. These are called les jours fériés. Jour means day in French, and feriare in Latin means rest, so jour férié is a day without work. To talk more about France's many jours fériés, let's join our very own Jeannie Godula. Hey, Jeannie.
Hi, Flo. I don't think there are any words more magic for school kids or full-time employees than jours fériés. There are 11 of them scattered throughout the French calendar. Now, of course, there are the usual bank holidays like Christmas or New Year's Eve. Then there are the historical ones, marking things like the end of World War I and World War II. And of course, France's national holiday, Bastille Day, that celebrates the beginning of the French Revolution.
And it might seem strange given the strong separation between church and state that you have here in France, but there are a lot of religious holidays as well. In fact, there are 6 religious holidays. After Christmas, there is Easter Monday, then you have Ascension, Pentecost, the Assumption of Mary, that's on August 15th, and All Saints' Day. And if you're lucky enough to come from the Alsace-Lorraine region in eastern France, you get 2 more extra religious holidays, and that dates back to when those areas were part of Germany.
So how does France, famous for its short working week and strong labor laws, compare to the rest of the European Union? Well, actually, the number of bank holidays here in France, 11, is less than the average of 12.2. And it's far below the average of Cyprus, the country in the EU with the most bank holidays, with 17. As for the rest of the world, the highest is Cambodia, which has almost 30 bank holidays per year.
The French have a pretty sweet deal, though, but those public holidays would never be enough. So, of course, the French managed to squeeze out even more time off thanks to something called un pont. Now, a pont in French is quite literally a bridge. And if a public holiday falls on a Tuesday or on a Thursday, well, then you fais le pont, faire le pont, which essentially means you take the day off between, so like the Monday or the Friday, and you stretch it out into a long weekend.
And if the bank holiday falls on a Wednesday, you can faire le viaduc, take the viaduct, which means you can put in 2 days off of work to get a 5-day weekend. As you can imagine, the French love their ponts and their viaducs. They say it's a great way to recharge your batteries. Let's listen.
Je pars 10 jours, j'ai posé 4 jours de congé. C'est vrai que si on veut partir un peu, c'est avantageux.
Des moments pour se réunir, c'est précieux.
Et après, on rattrape. Voilà, quand on veut travailler, on peut travailler toute l'année à n'importe quel moment de l'année.
At the beginning of the year, people take a look at the calendar and see where the different bank holidays fall to see if they've hit a jackpot. And 2020 was supposed to be a particularly good year because there were going to be 9 public holidays during the week, 5 of them on a Monday or a Friday. So that was going to be a lot of long weekends.
But the long confinement due to COVID-19 put an end to all of that. Now, if the bank holiday falls on a weekend, of course, you don't get that day off. But if you work on a bank holiday during the week, you can get a recoup day. As for May 1st, a Labor Day here in France, that one is obligatory for everyone, which means if you work that day, you get paid double.
The abundance of jours fériés can be a real headache for small companies trying to work out their employee schedules and keep business running. In fact, it costs the French economy each year billions of euros.
Non seulement c'est pour nous quand même une catastrophe économique, mais c'est aussi et surtout un peu la quadrature du cercle. Les gens qui veulent travailler, ceux qui ne veulent pas travailler, ceux qui peuvent travailler, les jours fériés, croyez-moi, vraiment c'est de la grande gymnastique.
There's actually been a bit of controversy about one of France's bank holidays. That is Pentecost, a religious holiday that falls 40 days after Easter.
15 years ago, the government actually turned that bank holiday into a solidarity day. The idea being that people would work on that day and give their wages to a government fund that would help essentially elderly people. And the idea for this came after the terrible heat wave of 2003, which saw 15,000 people die in France, especially elderly people.
Solidarity Day became a bit of a mess, though. Many felt the idea was just a PR stunt, and they questioned where their wages, some 2.3 billion euros, were actually being spent. So after about 3 years of public anger, the whole idea was scrapped, and Pentecost became a normal bank holiday once again.
Except it's still a bit confusing because some companies like France 24 still do a kind of Solidarity Day on Pentecost. Now, just recently, the French President Emmanuel Macron said that he was in favor of actually having a second Solidarity Day. This would be to fund an increasingly dependent elderly population, but as you can imagine, that suggestion was quite controversial.
In addition to all those bank holidays, many full-time employees get even more days called RTTs. Now, this dates back to the 35-hour work week. When that came into place, most people kept on working a usual 39-hour work week, so businesses had to come up with ways to pay those extra hours back.
And that came via these extra days off for full-time workers called RTTs. Now, RTT stands for Réduction du temps de travail, so the reduction of work time.
Now, with all of this extra time off, you might think that French workers have earned their reputations of never getting anything done, when in fact, it's just the opposite. The French are some of the most productive workers in all of Europe.
Even with all that extra time off, perhaps proof that rested and relaxed workers produce more than people who are itching for a break.